Yeah, we're constantly in noise. As John Cage said, there's no such thing as silence, then maybe there's only such a thing as noise.
That noise had something to do with signal or code or a tracing that we leave behind. So it's not just that we're living in a vat, but that we know that we're there because we make noise, that we shuffle. And so in my presentation too, I sort of interpreted it as such, that there is being, but there's this tracing, there's this printing or signal that reminds us that we're there. We are not the noise, but we're always living with it and among it.
I think the main question that is where everything is spiraling around is this question of what makes us human.
I mean, I like the idea of the noise of being. I mean, I think it's quite a sort of human phrase, if you like. I think, insofar as there will be resistance, then in that sense, yeah, I think we need to keep talking about, maybe in detail about what it is that we're trying to confront. Where does capital reside? Where does state power reside? How can we oppose it? Who is opposing it? What strategies and tactics we need. So, yeah, in that sense, I think it will be a perennial question insofar as capitalism persists.
I think I wanted to show how the mask has a role in both the person who wears it and the way that it's imposed by someone else. So a government, a state, an entity can impose a mask on you. You can take it up yourself, but ultimately I wanted to think about the way in which the covered and uncovered face actually have a lot more in common than we think.
The things I'm most interested in are actually getting deeper into conflict studies and trying to actually develop theories of how different populations respond to conflict. So in Syria, for example, trying to engage not just the damage in Aleppo, but also agricultural condition, the threat of violence. We have several studies that are kind of concurrent right now, one of which is in northeastern Nigeria in Boko Haram, several of which are in Syria, and trying to actually develop analytical frameworks for understanding how people respond to these threats.
I think that what we have today, and this comes out in the description of the theme for this year, is that there's this pervasive move to reduce quality to quantity.
I think it's an interesting character that pushes us to think about, the near future of our urban structures under these political and environmental pressures. but it's also a good way for me to talk about, you know, where we're headed with artificial intelligence and where we're headed with affective computing. And affective computing is a subfield of computing where, you know, emotions are processed and machines can have emotions.
As many climate scientists have pointed out, by the time we know if their exact predictions are true, it will be too late, right? Because if we wait for verification, then we've already allowed global climate change to happen. Right? So the space between that prediction and reality is the space for political action. And it's this weird desire to actually want the model be so perfect